All right, I did too.
All right, am I saying like am
Just start
I
just start your regular intro.
all right, I don't want to ruin y'all's episode by just
No,
saying
no, no,
welcome to the
no, no.
H&H pod. All right, whatever. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the H&H Sports Podcast. As you can see, things are different. We have two more people under us. We have Elijah Seegers and Jacob McDaniel from the Ball Oasis podcast. If you guys don't know their podcast, they are an NBA-based podcast, which is different from us. We've lately been a football-based podcast, but they do a really good job with their podcast. You guys should check them out. Link their pod down in the description of this video. But what we're doing, obviously, it's a special episode since we got 4 people on the pod. We're doing basically just an NBA season overview right before the season starts on Wednesday. We're looking at the team, each team's over under, seeing if we agree or disagree with that, and we're just picking. Each of us is going to pick a random team. We're going to go over that team's off season and whatnot, and see what just go over what they did in the offseason. I think it should be a fun episode. It'll be pretty long, so you guys buckle in, get a snack, whatever. We'll be here for a while. Just straight talking hoops, man. How are y'all doing?
Chilling, man. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah,
This should be a blast.
should be,
Yeah,
man.
good. Waiting, ready for the season to start next week.
Bro, I can't agree more. I think we should just jump right into it. We have all right. Each of us is gonna alternate between talking about an NBA team. I have a wheel right here on my monitor. We're gonna go and whatever team that lands on. In this case, Jackson. That team is the team he's gonna talk about. First up, we have the New York Knicks.
All right. All right. So they added Jalen Brunson. We'll see. We'll see how that turns out. Trying to think. They didn't trade anybody, did they? Nobody
traded
major
Kemba.
trade.
I don't think so.
They got rid of
Yeah.
Kimba. They got
Alec
rid of
Burks, Nerlens
Alec
Noel.
Burks, Nerlens Noel. Those two are in the. They all went to the Pistons.
Okay. All right. What am I supposed to like? What am I supposed to?
Just say what you think about them.
You just say what say
how
your
how you
thoughts
how
on
you
the
feeling about
team.
Knicks?
Your thoughts on the team, how you think they did this offseason. Just overview their offseason and how you feel about how you feel about them going into the season. And then I'll give you
I don't.
their over under.
I don't think they really got any better. To be honest, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just wonder if Jalen Brunson's going to be what he was last year.
Right in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Knicks didn't do a whole ton to improve their roster. I would say they overpaid for Jalen Brunson. But that's a tax you got to pay for someone you want to join your team, even if it is a big market in New York. All right, so their over under the season is 38.5. It's probably a play-in team in the East.
I'm gonna say over.
By a lot?
No, not by a lot.
So you think they'll be a 500 team, probably?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, the Knicks, I don't really blame you for not having anything to talk about them. I mean, they really didn't do much. They got Brunson and kind of just stayed there. Yeah, they traded a ton of picks for, or no, they got a ton of picks back for OKC trading up for, I forget his name. Ousmane Dieng, yeah. All right. Elijah, you are talking about
The experts.
the Houston Rockets.
Houston Rockets, okay. The Houston Rockets, I think that they had one of the better drafts this season. Picking up Jabari Smith with the 3rd pick, picking up Tari Eason at pick number 17, and getting Ty Washington late in the 3rd round and in the 1st round. I think those guys have looked good throughout summer league and throughout the preseason. I think that each has kind of had a stretch where they've kind of shown flashes of what they can be. Especially Tari Eason out of the bunch. Tari Eason has kind of blossomed into a role where I feel like he'll take on a lot of the best defensive matchups. As a rookie, might be kind of hard for him, but there aren't very many options on that Houston Rockets team. You have Kevin Porter Jr., you have Jalen Green, You have the loss of Christian Wood that you'll have to address.
He
But
wasn't
you
really
got,
playing much for them anyway.
right, yeah,
He was
missed
really
like
hurt.
yeah, he missed like half the season last year. You've got Alperen Sengun in his second year, great playmaking center. So a lot of guys, a lot of developing guys. I think they'll be a fun team to watch. I think that they won't defend necessarily well, but I think that they'll put up like 112, 113 points a game, but they'll give up like 120. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Give it all
they'll
back
be
plus more.
they'll be in the sweepstakes once again for a top pick, which I think will benefit them in the long run, of course. But I think that their rebuild is well underway, and I think that they've got something brewing over there in Houston.
I'll end on to that. I think it'd be fun to look out for like how Jalen Green's progression works out with the loss of John Wall, who's going to take over the playmaking duties on offense, right?
Right.
Even with John Wall not playing at all last year, you got to have somebody to lead that offense. And with Jalen Green, I think he could, blossom into this lead playmaker if Kevin Porter Jr. doesn't, which is looking like
Yeah.
that will be the case. And like you just add on about how you said about Tari Eason, I think he was the steal of the draft, in my opinion. The fact that he fell all the way to 17 was egregious.
Yeah.
All right, Jacob.
Wait, give me the win total. Give me the win total.
Oh, my fault. They are 23.5.
23 and a half. I'm actually going to take the over. I think in our standings predictions, I had them winning about 27, 28 games. So I think that's around the range that they'll sit. I think that they'll do a lot of losing late in the season, but I think that that's where around where they'll sit.
I ain't mad at it. Houston Rockets, 30 wins. All right, you talking about the Brooklyn Nets, Jacob? Struck a gold mine with content here.
Okay,
Some words.
so
He's got some words, y'all.
the Brooklyn Nets, I think it's either play-in team or top three, top four. It's kind of hard to see.
Boomer bust?
Yeah, it's
Just
boomer bust.
straight
now.
boomer bust.
Straight boomer bust. I'm not believing it until I see it halfway through the season. I still think chemistry is going to be a problem. The five, which Ben Simmons will play the five, and I guess Nick Claxton will be out there with them. I don't see how that's going to work. Obviously, in the preseason, it's been working pretty well. Ben Simmons at the five or the main playmaker spot. He doesn't have to shoot necessarily like he did with Philly, but I just think he's surrounded with better offensive players where he doesn't have to rely on scoring as much. But I really think it's just going to come to his facilitating and defense of how far they go. And I guess chemistry, because if it's like last year, it can implode in a second and all go downhill. But I think, yeah, it's really hard to gauge what they're due this early. But I think it's boom or bust with them.
More questions than they have answers, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Let me ask you
He's a
this
big
real
bit.
fast.
Jacob's a big Ben Simmons fan, by the way.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Jacob. Did the additions that they made, do you think that they'll have any impact as we get later on in the season? Guys like TJ Warren, guys like Royce O'Neal, guys of that caliber, do you think that they'll have a significant impact on maybe a playoff series for the Nets?
They could. It's just they've been. I think not most, but a lot of their additions are coming off of injuries, and they're still dealing with some now. So it really just depends on how they play when they come back. Like TJ Warren was a bucket the last time we saw him play, but that was like 2 years ago. So really have to see, I guess, and how they perform when they get back on the court coming off of injury. But in the long run, depth-wise, I think they could help, especially if injuries come around.
I'll add on to that. What I want to see from them is they don't have that run stopper is what I want to see, because last year they were how you said about the Rockets. They would score 130 but let up 135 and lose the game. That was the story of their season. Even when Kyrie and KD were healthy, you put up 90 between these two, but when you're letting up way more, it's not going to help in the long run. What I want to see from Ben Simmons is to be that run stopper on defense. Just a couple years ago, he was second in voting for Defensive Player of the Year, and that's what the Nets so viciously needed, was some type of person who would just even try on defense. Because when you have Kyrie and KD putting everything they have on the offensive end, KD's good defensively, but him going age 35 season, age 34, it's only a matter of time before he's just all offense and no defense. So I don't know. I just want to add on that. Like, defense will be a big question mark for them. And
Yeah,
I think the addition of Ben
Yeah.
Simmons will at least help it.
I think he will more than likely guard the best player on the court on the opposing teams. More than likely, I guess it depends on who it is.
Yeah, Ben Simmons is. He has a lot of questions, but no question about his defense
Right.
is there. All right, their win total over under is 50.5.
I'm going under. I think
Under
I had
50.
I think I had him around 47 on our predictions. I'm sticking with under. I'm not a believer until I see it, so I got to see them.
Under 50. Keep getting the Rockets.
I agree. I'm down there with Jacob. I have him at 56.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I wouldn't.
Maybe not for the same reasons, but
Yeah. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they're number one. I wouldn't be surprised if they're 7, 8.
I pulled the Minnesota Timberwolves. I in my last episode talking about the NBA, I had some words for them. I will say it. I think the Rudy Gobert trade for them was one of the worst trades in recent NBA history. The just based on what they gave up. I understand Rudy Gobert is a good player, the best rim protector in the entire league, no question. But for the amount of stuff that they gave up, basically 5 first-round picks, 4 unprotected first-round picks, plus Walker Kessler, who just got drafted. You gave up Jaron Vanderbilt, Patrick Beverly, key rotation pieces that helped him make the playoffs, and a bunch of other people. Oh yes, we kept what's his face? I forgot his name. Jaden McDaniel. We kept him, bro. You gave up your entire 9-man rotation just to get Rudy Gobert, and who knows if it even won't work out. What we've seen in the preseason with Karl-Anthony Towns defending the perimeter has been terrible. It's not been good at all. Cat can't guard the perimeter to save his life, and he's going to have to play the 4 the entire season when he's on the floor with Rudy Gobert. And when you're looking 4 years down the line, if this doesn't work out, Rudy Gobert is going to be, 35, 36 years old? He's not going to be what he is now. And so when you have no first-round picks 5 years down the line, it was a move. What I would say is new management coming in, new ownership. A-Rod and them looking to make a big splash coming in. That big trade to show people like we're here for the win now, help turn Minnesota around. I think this will implode in their faces, maybe even next year or 2 years down the road. I don't think this will work out.
Yeah. I've been on the record saying on our show that I expect something bad to happen, and I think that one of them will be out the door within the next 2 years, just because of what we've seen already. And of course, they're still in their early stages, so we can't say for sure how it's
Yeah, they
gonna
haven't
play
played a
out.
regular season game yet.
Yeah,
I'm
so
saying what
it's-
I think will happen.
Yeah, it's still very early, but I could very well see it not working out like how they think it will, and that one of those guys between Cat and Rudy might be moved. And honestly, I think it might be Karl-Anthony Towns out of those two.
I disagree with that. They just
You agree?
supermaxed him so hard in the offseason, man. And they're building around him. Like they gave up Jared Vanderbilt, who was Cat technically played the 4 last season because Jared Vanderbilt can't shoot.
Right,
So he was
dunker.
he was basically playing in the dunker spot the entire season, and he was that rim protector down low. So it won't be much of a transition for Cat, but Rudy can't play on the outside, so he doesn't have that explosiveness off the dribble that Jared Vanderbilt did, that he could just sit outside and be all right. I think that would be a great regular season team. They have the team to be good in the regular season, but like we've seen with Rudy, having Rudy Gobert on your team in the playoffs is a recipe for failure. It just has been. There's no light at the end of the tunnel when you have Rudy Gobert on your team in the playoffs. Even like they've shown with the Jazz a couple years ago in the 72-game season, best team in all of basketball in the regular season, the best offense, top 10 defense, raining threes. But when it comes time in the postseason, when teams like we saw with Ty Lue will have game plans around it, and you refuse to take him off the floor, I'm not saying Chris Finch will do the same thing, but when it comes down to it, it's going to be iffy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're built for the regular season.
I'm going to pick their over. They'll finish the top 4 seed.
What's
But-
the number?
48.5. They'll win 50. They have a good team. They won 47 last year without Rudy, but more depth. But still, they'll win 50 plus games I don't want to say easily, but I think they'll be a good regular season team, no doubt. And it's just it's going to be iffy when it comes time playoffs.
Me and Jacob had Anthony Edwards most improved player.
Ant's going to be good. Ant's going to be. I could see him being the best player on the team in the next year or two. He's that good.
That's why I think they might be quicker to get rid of Cat over Rudy. But the contract that you mentioned.
And plus, Rudy is getting paid so much money
Yeah.
to just protect the rim. I understand rim protection's like very important, but that's all he does. And he gets screen assists. He has the most screen assists in the league the past however many years. But there's a certain like extent to that. Where is it that important where you pay him the supermax and trade all of them assets for him? We'll see. That's just how I feel about it. They're a good team, but I think that trade in the offseason will, be the story of how of their success. I think really what it comes down to is Rudy with them.
I agree.
Their over-under is 48.5. I said I'll go over that. Like, they're going to be a good regular season. Jackson's up. The LA Lakers.
I was just sitting here thinking, what if I get the Lakers? And I'm kind of glad I did.
But say you got content to talk about here.
Another content gold mine in the Lakers here.
Yeah. This team's gonna go as far as LeBron James can take them, I think. And
I don't know. We didn't see that last year.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm not saying it's gonna be far. I'm saying. Hold on, I may need to reword that actually. Like,
Braun averaged 36 and 6 plus.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is there's only so far he can take them, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying now? Okay. Yeah, I worded that bad. But now if Anthony Davis can play more than like 50 games, that'd help. But I don't know how well Pat Bev and Russ is going to work out. I haven't watched much preseason, by the way. I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and say
They look bad. I'll just tell you that. They look bad.
The Lakers have looked horrific.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched like any preseason, to be honest. So, but yeah, I didn't think that was going to work. I really don't expect Russ to make it through the whole season, honestly. But I don't know who's going to take on his contract either. So, yeah, what's their over/under?
It's pretty high. 45.5.
Yeah, I'm going under. I'm going under.
Under. Yeah, I'm going under.
I'm betting that now. Right now.
Yeah, I'm
under. The Lakers are just a dumpster fire right now. You'd never say that with a LeBron James led team with him having Anthony Davis too. 5 years ago, if you told me that a team with Russ, AD, and LeBron James were on the same team, and I picked under 48.5 wins, I would have slapped myself in the face right there. But it's just AD struggles with injuries. Russ is obviously not the same player he once was. Even just 2 years ago when he was breaking the triple-double records for all time. Russ needs the ball in his hands, and so does LeBron, and so does AD. And when you have three of those guys on the same team, it tends to not work out. That's just the Lakers have no chemistry. I think firing Frank Vogel was the dumbest thing they could have done. He was just the scapegoat, really. They couldn't trade Russ, so they had to blame it on somebody, and they blamed it on Frank Vogel, and they fired him.
Consistency. They just
there's
have
no
any type of consistency within an organization.
Yeah, there's no concept that they could just fall back on and rely on that. I thought Frank Vogel was the reason they were anything last year. Obviously, LeBron was good, but Frank Vogel had that. It wasn't a great defense last year, but it was something. Like, Frank Vogel was always going to have a good defensive led team, and that was the reason. Part of the reason. While before, the season a couple years ago, before LeBron and AD both went down, they had the number one defense in the entire league, and that's what kept them afloat, even to just stay in the 7th seed and make the play-in that year. And that's what helped them win the title. Number one defense in the entire league, and when they were both healthy, they won a championship. So, and that was because of Frank Vogel. Frank Vogel is always going to have a good defensive-led team. He's a winner, obviously, with the championship. And when you fall back on that by firing your head coach, it's just management, in my opinion. It's management.
Yeah.
At some at the time, I didn't think the Russ trade was going to turn out I don't think anybody did. Obviously, we had questions like, oh, who's going to have the ball? They both need the ball. What's going to work out? But I didn't think we'd all think it would just implode like that. But I think ultimately the demise of the Lakers has been management, and they just extended Rob Pelinka, so it's not going to get any better
So
anytime soon.
I have a question.
What's up?
If it's a failure season, do you open the idea of trading LeBron or AD?
Yes, 100.
I think-
AD will be a free agent.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so it had to be LeBron.
LeBron only have 1 more year left on his deal.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you make LeBron available, every team's gonna call, obviously.
Yeah.
At this
I understand
point,
it's LeBron, but he's 38.
yeah, at this point, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, you got to get some of them picks back somewhere.
Yeah.
I would think that they would do a sign and trade with AD just to get something.
Because they have no
But
picks.
I think the 2 picks they had, the 27 and 29 pick that they do have, I think it is going to be those are going to be shipped. Even one of them just to get off of the Russell Westbrook contract. But I'm hearing rumors about Miles Turner and Buddy Hield both going to the Lakers for both of those picks.
So long.
Yeah.
But I could see the Pacers, falling into that, just because they have been selling. I mean, I really don't know what to expect from the Lakers. If I had to bet, it would be under 500 failure season, because the team probably, you could say, got worse from last year.
Yeah, I think so.
It's just I don't really feel comfortable saying that I don't believe in a LeBron James, Anthony Davis led team, but LeBron is old. AD's shown that he can't stay on the floor.
I don't like their
I don't-
depth at all.
I don't know. I really don't have any expectations for this team.
I could probably only name like 5 people on their team.
They got Kendrick Nunn.
He's still there.
I tell you, they
Yeah.
got White Lightning, Austin Reeves. I'll give you that.
They got Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan.
Hopefully, he's better than the one that plays football.
Hey, he had a good day.
Hey, he was
today.
good today. He was good
Yeah.
today.
Back off. Next
I
team,
didn't-
let's not
I
talk
can't- I
about the
didn't-
Lakers.
I didn't
I'm
watch
tired
it.
of talking about the Lakers.
All right, Elijah, you have the Pelicans. This is a good team to talk about.
The Pelicans, you say. So, for those who watch our show, you would know that I'm probably the biggest believer in the New Orleans Pelicans.
Do you
of
have
it's a
them
meme.
high in your standings?
Yeah, part of it's a meme by now. In my Western Conference standings, I had them as the 3 seed going into the season.
Wow, the
Yeah.
3 seed?
Yeah, I had them as the 3 seed. I have them winning over 50 games. And while some of that may be a stretch, I do really like this Pelicans team. I love the pieces that they had last year, with Brandon Ingram. I think Brandon Ingram was great. Adding CJ McCollum, a vet who's been there in some of the biggest moments.
That's why he likes him so much.
Hey, back off. Just have him with those young guards like Jose Alvarado and Devontae Graham, who I don't really like Devontae Graham. I don't really like him in the rotation, but while he's still there, he's all right, I guess. But Herb Jones is one of my favorite players in the league just because of how well he defends. On ball, he's constantly in passing lanes. And then Valanciunas is just a super solid big. He's going to be able to stretch the floor if he has to. Maybe their interior defense isn't great with Valanciunas, and I haven't even talked about their biggest piece yet, of course, with Zion. With Zion coming back, he provides the biggest question mark, but what I have banked on is that Zion will be good. I think Zion will be good. I think he'll have a really good season. I think he'll have an all-NBA caliber season. Do I think that this is a team who's geared to go far in the playoffs? No, I still don't think so yet. I think that they could win a first-round series, but I still do think they have some holes. I think that maybe they don't shoot the 3 as well as some other teams in the league. They have solid 3-point shooters with CJ, with Brandon Ingram, with Trey Murphy, who I think will be a big integral piece in the rotation this year. And interior defense. I just think their interior defense might suffer a little bit. But outside of that, this Pelicans team is going to be super, super fun to watch. They're going to They're going to be a great team in the half court. Zion is going to, have so many highlight invoking moments as long as he's on the floor. And I'm excited to watch the Pelicans play. I'm high on them this year.
Who'd you have above them?
I had the Suns and the Warriors.
You think the Suns are going to be one again?
Yeah, we made those before the whole 36ers thing and Jay Crowder kind of up in the air, DeAndre Ayton thing. But yeah, I had the Suns at 1.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you some teams, and I'm gonna ask you if you think the Pelicans are genuinely better than them. All
Go
right,
for it.
I go with the Grizzlies.
Yeah. This year I do.
Dallas.
In the regular season, yes. In the playoffs, no.
Obviously Utah. Denver.
No, I don't think they're better than Denver.
Minnesota.
I think that they are better than Minnesota.
Clippers.
They're not better than the Clippers. In our predictions, I had the Clippers at the 7 seed just because I think that Kawhi and Paul George are going to miss time in the regular season. But I think that if they fall that far, they'll be the greatest play-in team of all time, and they'll probably win playoff series as the 7 seed.
I just wanted to see where you were with the Pelicans, man.
Yeah.
Like the three. I was expecting like, I'm high on the Pelicans, maybe 5, 6, 7. Three.
I went all in.
3.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Willie Green as a coach. I think the fact that they even made the playoffs last year is a miracle in itself with the way that they started. So
They gave the Suns all they wanted too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
I don't blame you for being high on them, but 3 is a lot. I mean, they have a good team. Their starting 5 is elite. It's up there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just worried about their defense.
Yeah, their defense, it definitely does have some concerns. We know CJ hasn't been a guy who's locked down before. We know Herb Jones and Jose Alvarado, though, are going to be scrappy, are going to, make their mark on the game. But I think that can only last so much. That's why I think that this team, kind of like y'all said with the Timberwolves, may only be geared as like a regular season team. Even with the success they had in the playoffs, I think they just kind of got hot at the right time. But I still do think that this team is really, really good, as long as Zion fits in as seamlessly as I think he will.
What I'm worried about with Zion is obviously health. We want to see him on the floor, but is his willingness to play defense. He has the athleticism. He has every tool in the book to be a great elite defensive player, and I think if Willie Green is as good as a coach as I think he is, he would use Zion in a way that the Bucks use Giannis, or the Celtics use Robin Williams, that sort of free safety down under.
Yeah.
You see how like a 1-3-1 defense plays. We have that chaser at the bottom of the goal. He would just get in position and block shots, and I think that's how the Pelicans should use Zion, in just a free safety shot blocker type of defender.
Right.
What made Giannis win that Defensive Player of the Year is his help defense. Getting under the goal, helping on that weak side defender. Being able to just block shots and force misses. Zion's not that big. He's not 6'11", but he has the athleticism to get up and defend those shots and block those shots. What I think they would be, it would serve them well to use him like that. But maybe he is too short to play that role. Who knows?
Yeah.
But
I do worry about foul trouble with him too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we talked about it on our last episode. If they go deep in the playoffs, they would have to match up, I think, against, we said, the Grizzlies and the Suns somehow. That's like the only way.
The West is a gauntlet.
Yeah.
So you obviously think they're going over 44.5.
Yeah, I'm slamming the over on that. I have them around 50, 51.
I would probably teeter right where they're at, 44.5.
I'd go over. I had them around 49 or 50.
Golly.
We're high on them, man.
All right,
Yeah.
Jacob, you got the Bulls.
Ooh. So the Bulls, I think they're going to be a play-in team. There's a chance of one more injury they could miss the play-in completely. They just kind of, I don't want to say they got hot last year, but they beat the bad teams last year. But when they played the good teams, it showed that they were not as good as people said they were. I know they were the 6th seed, and they're already dealing with the Lonzo injury. And DeMar DeRozan had that one stretch where it was, it was MVP talks and hitting game winners. Zach LaVine played pretty good, but I think realistically this year, with how the East is so stacked, they could very well fall out of the play-in. I think I had them around the 9 seed, so I could very well see them fall off, or if some injuries happen to other teams, they could move up, but I don't see it happening at all.
Yeah, they don't have a.
I don't.
They're one of those teams that'll be good in the regular season. They don't have a. Even with Lonzo, they don't have a good half-court offense. Like even with DeMar DeRozan, that only goes so far. Just not having a great half-court offense.
Right. I think Vucevic, if they do struggle, he might get traded before the deadline. But I don't even know where he would go.
I think he should have got traded in the offseason. He's not good.
So they're up. I don't think they're up in the air, but I have no idea really what to say about them. I don't think they'll be high, and I think they're in the play-in for sure, but it's really close.
Yeah, they're a weird team. As long as they have LaVine, DeMar, and Billy Donovan at head coach, there will be a good team. LaVine is going to be fully healthy going into the season. He just got an extension. He played hurt pretty much all last year. DeMar just coming off the best season of his entire career. You just hope, as a Bulls fan, they stay afloat once Lonzo comes back, because Lonzo, offensively, he was one of the best three-point shooters in the entire league before he got hurt, and defensively, he was, great. More or less of a, help defender. He was just a good, on-ball defender, and getting steals and stuff. So, they have. As a Bulls fan, you just hope they stay afloat once Lonzo gets back, and hope Vucevic can just, be even. Quarter of what he was as an all-star.
I don't have much to say about him. I don't really believe in the Chicago Bulls, honestly.
Yeah, they're a weird team.
What's the win total?
41.5.
I'm going under.
I would go over.
Yeah, I do.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go much.
I think I have them sitting like 39 wins. I think they'll be under 500.
I think I have too much talent to be 500, even with the East being as stacked as it is. I just think they have too much talent.
I think they'll be right at 5.
I'll probably go over.
Yeah.
Barely, but I'll probably go over.
Am I up now? That's crazy. So crazy. I have the Orlando Magic. All right, this is a fun team to talk about. Obviously, they storyline of their offseason, number 1 overall pick, Paolo Banchero, I think he's been great. He's just seeing what he's played in the preseason, being able to see he can, set guys up on passes, having a passing game into bully ball. Nobody can guard him. I think Banchero's going to be great. They have just such a young team with Jamal Mosley at head coach. I don't know if he's 40 yet. They have a young head coach with a young team. They'll be a league pass team for sure. They have just a lot of young pieces. There's a lot of young bodies on that team. It's just who you're going to play, right? You have Gary Harris still on that team, I'm pretty sure. Terrence Ross.
Those two. Gary Harris is out for the season, I believe.
He'll still be a locker room presence for them. They need veteran guys on that team to keep that, just team not from completely imploding itself apart, because we've seen with very young teams, it won't go as well if you don't have that veteran presence in the locker room. They do have Terrence Ross. They have Mo Bamba still on that team. Wendell Carter, I think is their best player. I think Wendell Carter could be in talks for most improved. Wendell Carter's really good. So they still got Cole Anthony, who's a bucket. They still got Jalen Suggs, their top 5 pick from last season. Jonathan Isaac, who knows if he'll ever play basketball ever again. But they
I was
do
just
have
thinking of him.
Like, he hasn't played basketball in 3 years, bro. That's crazy. I don't know why they haven't gotten rid of him. But he's still a good player. He can, he's a good veteran guy, a good defensive player. The Magic are just, a wait and see kind of team. They're going to be young. They're going to lose probably. They're probably not going to win more than 30 games on the season. But I do think they have promise. I do think they have a very bright future. I think Banchero is the truth. He's the real deal. He's definitely deserving of that number 1 overall pick. It's just we have to see how these young guys gel together. And I think once deadline comes, we'll see, who the coach likes, who the GM likes, and they'll see the rotation kind of fizzle itself out by the by then because they may not be traded, but we'll see who the coach likes and who the the key rotation guys for that team will be. They're much like the Pistons. They got better and had a really good offseason, really good draft. It's just they have a lot of bodies to play and a lot of young players. You just got to see who the best out of the bunch is.
Yeah.
And I don't really care to look at their win. They're 26.5. I mean, I would probably say over for all of these bad teams, but I'm gonna say under, just because they're so young. Like their oldest player is Terrence Ross, who's like 31, 32, and yeah, I mean, I would go under, but yeah, Orlando, they just got a lot of young guys who they need to figure out who's going to be good for them and who's going to play for them.
Yeah. I'm going under.
Yeah, I go under.
Yeah, I'll go under.
Dang, I wanted to talk about this team. Jackson, you got the Nuggets.
All right. Obviously Jokic is there. I think Jamal Murray, having him back will help a lot. Michael Porter Jr. What's their over under on wins?
High. Not as high as I thought it would be. Where are they at? 49.5.
Yeah, I'll probably take them over.
That's a lock in my opinion.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah, yeah, I'll take the over on them.
I think they're the best team in the West.
Really?
They're so stacked, bro. They have
The best team in the West?
Yes, personally, they have Jokic, 2-time back-to-back MVP. Jamal Murray, who was a bucket in the bubble. He's a hooper. They obviously were doing great once they it showed that they needed him once they lost him. Michael Porter Jr., who had a career year last year before he went down, or the year before he went down. And they're just so deep. They did trade Monte Morris and KCP, or they traded Monte Morris and Will Barton. They brought in KCP and Ish Smith. But just having Jokic, okay, I'm going to put this in perspective. They had Jokic and a G League team around him, right? And they were still a playoff team. Not a play-in team, playoff team. And the fact that they even took a game from the Warriors just shows you how good that Jokic can be. And once he has his two best players back with him, that team is going to be so hard to beat. And the last time that they were fully healthy in a season, they made the conference finals. So they're the best team in the West.
In the West, though?
Jokic. It's all my answer. That's my answer. It's Jokic.
I'm a little worried about their interior defense as well. I think more with their bench because as their bench big this year, they'll be bringing out Zeke Naji as their bench big. And we've seen him struggle to play that interior defense, but he won't be on the floor much. So maybe I'm just thinking into it a little too much. But
he'll play with Jokic more than he will, come in for Jokic.
I do think that Nuggets team is very, very good.
They have DeAndre backup big, so
I'm standing by all year that they're the best team in the West. As much as I love the Grizzlies, as much as I think the Warriors are, still great, I think top to bottom that team is the best team in the West. And I'm like shooting over their over-under.
Yeah, I'll go over.
Yeah, like I said, I'm going over.
I just think in the playoffs, they will target Jokic on defense a lot, depending on who they play.
Yeah, and that's why Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. have to be healthy.
Elijah, you have the Toronto Raptors.
Okay. I won't spend too long on the Toronto Raptors just because they didn't make any big splashes in the offseason. They had Otto Porter Jr. I'm pretty sure that they re-signed Thaddeus Young. But the Raptors are a solid team. And I think that even I kind of undersold them in the preseason. I had them coming in as my 8th seed in the Eastern Conference, and I think they'll overachieve that. I think that they're too good of a regular season team. We saw even last year with the struggles that they kind of got out to start the season. They ended the season so strong and ended up with a 5 seed. You just look at their starting lineup. I think their starting lineup is very, very well rounded, and they love those 6'9" wings who are so interchangeable, who can play
Yeah, long
defense.
arms can
Yeah,
get in the passing lane.
who can shoot the three. And what I've told Jacob is the only real pitfall with them is, besides their youth and lack of playoff experience with some of their better players, is their rotation. They only tend to play 7, 8 guys throughout the entire season. Nick Nurse's rotations are very, very short. So I think that can really bog some guys down, going into the playoffs. We've seen Fred Van Vliet constantly playing 40 minutes a game. OG Anunoby is playing 41, 42 minutes a game. And I trust Nick Nurse as a coach, of course. I think that he's a top 5 coach in the NBA. But I just think that might hurt them just a little bit. I also am not super trusting in their three-point shooting. I think Fred can really shoot it. I think that Gary Trent can shoot it, even though he's streaky. But outside of that, I don't know. I just don't think the Raptors are very deep. I think that they're a little young. I think that they lack a little bit of playoff experience. But I do think that they'll be a solid team in the Eastern Conference again.
You didn't even mention Scotty Barnes. That boy
Yeah,
is
Scotty's great.
that boy is
Scotty's
a
gonna be great.
hooper.
I think he'll be an all-star this year.
hooper.
Yeah, I think they'll get a lot of wins in the regular season, but in the playoffs, I don't think they'll get out the first round.
I think they're
Get that-
playoff. I think what they have is that defense. You said youth, but what they do have is a championship DNA. Most of their core guys have that playoff experience from that championship year. But their defense is gonna, carry them along. I think that'll be their strong point. It's just their offense. What they can get on offense is sometimes they just let Pascal Siakam ISO. That was what they did most of the time in the Sixers series. They just got out of the way, let Pascal Siakam ISO, and just make a play out of what they see.
Cycle.
Make a play out of what they see in that. I think their defense is what's gonna propel them to wherever they're gonna be. So it's just their offense is what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
What's their win total?
45.5, same as the Lakers.
I'll take the over. Not by much, but I'll take the over.
I'll take the over by a few games.
I probably have them sit at 45,
45 and a half.
45.5, yeah.
Yeah, I'll take the over.
It's so weird because I think they're a 45-46 team.
Yeah.
But I'll say over, I guess. The Indiana Pacers.
Don't spend too much time on this one.
Yeah, I'm about to say they're giving the keys to Tyrese Halliburton. They'll develop him, let him take as many shots, basically run the offense, develop him. Benedict Mathurin, develop him as well. But I still think they're in that race for the bottom. They're going to try to lose a lot of games while developing their young guys. That's really all I say. And Buddy Hield and Miles Turner should trade them sooner than later.
Tank for Victor.
Yeah.
Not much to say. about that.
Imagine if OKC got Victor though.
Just roll out triple tower lineup.
Yeah,
Although-
pretty much.
although-
Yeah.
Although I hate whenever they throw Poku in there. Like, Poku's like a great player. Poku sucks. He's not good.
He's so bad. He's just big and
not good.
long. The Pacers is 23.5.
Under.
I had him. Yeah, I go under. I had him like right at 23.
Yeah,
I'll go under.
under.
Under for show. I got the Spurs.
Yep, not much time about them either.
All I gotta say is I think they're the worst team in the entire league. I like their first round pick in I forgot his name. This guy from Baylor.
Jeremy Sohan.
Sohan. I think he's good. I think he's a Coach Popovich type of player. But other than that, they got Josh Primo. It's just a young team. Lonnie Walker's not there anymore. They still got Jakob Pertl. I mean, that team can. What's his name? Johnson. K. Johnson. I don't remember
Keldon
his first name.
Johnson.
Keldon Johnson. There we go. He'll get most shots on that team. He'll probably average 25 plus just because that team is bad. But the Spurs are just the worst team. We've never seen this before with Coach Pop. This might be his last year, just because the team is bad.
I'm eating.
You're good. It's just the team's bad. Really young. This is the youngest team Pop has ever had, and it's also the worst. I think this team is the worst team in the league.
They should have the lowest win total. I do agree.
Yeah, they should have the lowest
They have the lowest over/under at 22.5.
under.
Under.
Yeah, they'll probably scratch
Yeah.
15.
I think I had.
Although I don't
had
know.
less.
I don't know because as long as Greg Popovich is your coach, he might try to win some games.
It's not in his nature to lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had him like right at 20 games.
Gonna kill that all-time win percentage.
Bro, this thing keeps landing on the same teams.
Why don't you delete them as they
They don't got that option.
Oh.
Here, I'll step out for 1 second, y'all. Y'all keep going.
Bro,
So-
have y'all had these yet? These loaded fries from Zaxby's?
Yeah, I've had them like twice.
That's pretty good, I ain't gonna lie.
They are.
I'm muting myself while I chew, that way I ain't smacking in the mic.
We do appreciate it.
I just wanted to eat them while they was warm.
There's one team y'all better hope I don't get. I think Jackson. No.
My Grizzlies?
Yeah.
He must be low.
What team did he get?
Oh yeah.
He must be
He had
sleeping.
him He had them like 8.
Don't do that. All right, Jackson. You got the Golden State Warriors.
All right. The Warriors. There ain't really much to say. I mean, defending champs, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole's gonna be. He's got that extension. He's gonna be great. Draymond Green. I mean, like I said, there ain't much to say, really. They're pretty much a lock for a top 3 seed, I think.
I would agree.
They're so far on the luxury tax, bro. I can't believe they paid Jordan Poole that much money.
It's like right at 500 million almost, I think.
So much money.
Somebody said that was a hazard pay.
I mean, if they weren't going to pay him, somebody else was going to.
Yeah.
Ooh. All right. The Detroit.
Hold on, whoa, what's the over/under?
Yeah.
Oh, my fault. Expected to be high. 51.5.
Over.
Over.
I would say over. I feel like they're more in that type of team now where they really don't care about regular season as much as they do playoffs. But still, they're gonna naturally having that team gonna win more than 52 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they're healthy, they're winning more than 52 games.
Yeah, I think they're trying to get a lot of the young guys involved too, but they'll still get over 50 for sure.
All right. You got the Detroit Pistons.
All right. They're a bad team, so I won't spend too much time on them, but they are fun. They are going to be a fun team, and I do really like their additions through the draft. I think Jaden Ivey was a great pick for them to have in that backcourt alongside Kate Cunningham. I think that Jalen Duren at the 13th pick, I think that they kind of got a snag with him. I think that he'll fit really well in that scheme. I think that Dwayne Casey is a good coach for those young guys. I like Sadiq Bey. I like some of the pieces off of their bench. I don't think that their depth is particularly good. They're a very young team. Bogdanovich, I don't expect Bogdanovich to be there long. I think he'll get traded around the deadline. But the Pistons are going to be they're going to be fast. I think that they'll be one of the faster paced teams in the league with Jaden Ivey, with Kate Cunningham. I think they'll want to get out and run. I think that they kind of like the Rockets will score some points this year, but defensively, I don't think that they'll bring it really on the defensive end. I think that they are a little undersized as a team in general, with Isaiah Stewart being like a 6'9", 6'8" center. So Jalen Duren is really like their tallest player at this point, and I think that he'll struggle with foul trouble, especially in his young career.
Jackson,
But
is Jalen Duren a footer?
Do what?
Is he a 7-footer? Or is he like 6'10",
Yeah.
closer?
Well, I think he's like 6'11" or 6'10".
I think Beef Stew will play more than him, but
Elijah,
yeah,
did you go
they
see him play in person?
yeah, I think he's 6'11".
Yeah, he's a man, is what he
he
is.
can fly. That kid, he's barely 19 years old, and he's golly, man.
Yeah.
That block he had against SMU in the conference tournament, man, I will never forget that. That man literally flew from the free throw line to block that
Like-
shot, bro.
I was so blessed to watch him up close so many times. Like it's just he dominated college ball.
Yeah.
Just
What was crazy is me looking at him, like, man, that kid's younger than me. He's doing that, bro.
well, what's crazy is he was supposed to be in high school and he was doing that.
Yeah, he reclassed. Glad he did. That boy's a beast. Would you take their over?
What's the line?
29.5. It's a little high.
29. Yeah, that's a little too high. Before you said it, I was like, yeah, I think I want to, but 29 is too high. I think I have it around like 26, 27. Because although they will score points and be fast, I think that their goal is still to continue to get better through the draft. So I'll take the under.
I would bank on their over. What their moves this offseason weren't necessarily to get better. I think it was more on getting that spacing for Cade Cunningham. Although Cade Cunningham was superb last season as a rookie, he didn't have spacing at all. He could have averaged way more than the assist he averaged if he had that spacing. And I think the moves that they made was to help that spacing. And Bogdanovich was more of a spacing move than it was, in my opinion, than to make that team better. I think Alec Burks, I would bank him to start the season.
You think
Then
he'll
I
start
would-
over Sadiq Bey?
I would think he start with Jaden Ivey.
Really?
Jaden Ivey, I think he's more of a player who would probably need to be more, to fit in, like, get more comfortable with his role. I do think Jaden Ivey's a better player and will be better than Alec Burks. But for right now, Alec Burks is the better player, and I think he'll be better fit for Cade Cunningham to be that, guy in the corner he could just kick out to and create spacing. So the Pistons, what Troy Weaver's doing is banking on Cade Cunningham being that guy, and I don't blame him. He's made it. There's building around him with this team. Sadiq Bey, Bogdanovich, Alec Burks, Jaden Ivey can develop to be a shooter. They're building around Cade Cunningham, and I think it'll be a recipe for success because Cade Cunningham's the truth, in my opinion. I would probably take their under because with so many bad teams near the bottom, there's got to be that one team that does a little bit better than expected.
Yeah. See, I had that as a different team. Well, I'll get that. I'll get that whenever we get to them.
I'll take their over. Can it finish spinning? Oh, this is perfect.
Oh, brother.
You
There
got
we
the Sixers.
Everybody buckle up.
I won't spend too long on it, even though I could.
You're muted, Jackson.
Jackson, we can't hear you, bro.
Oh yeah, my bad. Just ignore it. I didn't say anything important.
I think it's Joel's year to finally win MVP. Now, I don't think it's a popular pick, but James Harden looks a lot better than last year. Speed wise, like off the dribble wise, it looked like he has a step back. Tyrese Maxey has been going off in the preseason. I know it's preseason, but he's been really good developing. Like the confidence is there. I think with the addition of DeAnthony Melton, which I've talked to Jackson about a lot during the offseason, he kind of helps our bench a lot defensively and like facilitating because with him and Matisse out there, they had both out there pressing like full court basically, and it was really
Y'all treat him right.
it was really disrupting them. Obviously Montrezl Harrell, the backup five. I really think they well-rounded this team really well considering that a lot of our bench from last year, our sixth man just basically got pushed to the ninth man. So I really think they put a lot of shooters around Joel, a lot of complementary players around Joel and Harden. PJ Tucker, which mental toughness, a lot of people don't understand what he does for a team, but he is really important for a contending team. I have them
Daryl Morey's putting the band back together.
Yeah, the Philadelphia Rockets. I have them as a number 1 seed in the East. They could.
I agree. They'll be a regular season team.
They're going to try to get a lot of wins. Even like the playoffs, I still think they can go very far this year. I know we say that every year, but I really think with this team, it could really happen. I don't want to say they can have the most wins in the NBA, but in the East, I feel like they can for sure. I think health. It really just depends if Joel plays 65 plus games.
Do you think they're the best team in the East?
He does.
I do. The reason I say that because like Milwaukee, I had them as a 3 seed. I think they're kind of coast through the regular season to prioritize health. Boston, just the coaching question mark. They normally start off slow. Playoff times, I would guide them, going far, but it can really. The only team in the playoffs I'd be scared of is Milwaukee, in my opinion. What's their over/under?
Their over/under is 50.5.
Over, yeah.
Over.
I think they can get 55 plus.
I would say over.
I didn't even mention Tobias Harris, 4th option, but it's awful. That's a good 4th option.
Speaking of, I have Milwaukee Bucks to talk about. We say there's not a lot to say about this team, but I think there is. Giannis is the best player in the NBA, and if he's healthy like he usually is, that team will be a lock to win at least 50 games. When the core 3 that they have, Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton, they're like a bunch and a little in that record department. They don't lose with those three people on the players on the court. It's just a matter of like health. Chris Middleton's coming off an injury, whether like too big or not, it did keep them from, in my opinion, winning the title last year. So, the Bucks, in my opinion, are up there with the Nuggets, with the best team in the NBA, just based on their core guys. The loss of PJ Tucker, that was a couple years ago. I would love. Yeah. I was thinking of that championship team. They'll be good. They'll be good. Like Jacob said, they'll coast in the regular season, more than they would care about wins. But come playoff time, I do trust Milwaukee more than pretty much any other team in the East, besides maybe Miami. I do like the Bucks. I think they have, besides the Warriors, the best shot to win the title this year, as long as their guys stay healthy.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm hoping
I think the Bucks are still my 1.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a Philly-Milwaukee Eastern Conference Finals this year.
Yeah, as long as their guys stay healthy. I think, personally, losing Chris Middleton is what kept them from beating Boston, and Grant Williams turning into the best player in the universe in that Game 7.
One bad shooting game, Milwaukee wins that series.
Yeah,
Grant Williams went off in that game.
The win total?
I'm taking their over. I don't care what it is. It's 52.5, second best in the league. I'm taking the over.
Over.
I'll go over. Even though I had them like at 51 or 2, I'll go over.
I had them like at 58 on our standings.
Yeah.
Jackson, you got the Wizards.
Oh,
Okay,
gosh.
before you say anything about them, this was my Eastern Conference team that I think will be above the rest of the pack in the bottom tier.
Really?
Yeah. Go ahead, Jackson.
I really don't even have anything to say, honestly.
I'll talk about the Wizards, and you can get the next team.
Go ahead.
Okay, you like them so much, so go ahead.
Yeah, I'm high on the Wizards, and maybe irrationally high this year. I think they'll be a play-in team. I think that Bradley Beal being healthy, and we've seen him in his past 2 healthy seasons average over 30 points. I think that as long as he's healthy, he'll reach that threshold once again. Adding Kristaps Porzingis as a second option, I think he really, really has a chance to kind of revitalize some of the areas where he's lacked in. I think that he'll have free range in that offense. I think that Wes Unseld Jr. will give him that freedom. I like their surrounding pieces. I like their forwards. I like Rui Hachimura. I like Denny Avdia. I like um, I like Kyle Kuzma. I think Kyle Kuzma has done a great job getting on the glass and hitting the three ball. I think he's been really good for that team. I think the pickup of Monte Morris will provide them a solid playmaker role that I don't think that they've had since they had John Wall. I just really like the pieces on this team. Do I think that they could make noise in the Eastern Conference? No, of course not. But do I think that they have the potential to be better than the Chicago Bulls? Yeah, I do. Do I think they have the potential to be better than the New York Knicks? Yeah, I do. Will they? Only time will tell. I like their pieces though, and I have them making the play in. I think that they'll be a play in team this year.
I agree. I'd probably pick their over, depending on what it is. I just think what they need to do is to just, if they want to keep Bradley Beal and pay him all this money, I think I should just play him at point guard. I know they got Monte Morris.
Yeah.
I like him better to come off the bench, like what we've seen with the Nuggets. He was a great backup point guard. But I like Bradley Beal as the primary playmaker. I think just play the offense through him and ride. I think that would give Washington their best chance to win.
Yeah, I had Washington with my 11 seed. I had them tied with New York, who was my 10 seed. I just gave New York the edge, like the series win. But yeah, I think Washington could very well make a push into the 9-10 seed. I wouldn't say 8, but 9 or 10 seed.
Yeah, they're over under 35.5. I would probably take that over.
Yeah, I'd probably go over. I'm not gonna lie. When you told me I had the Wizards, I blanked on who was even on the team. I knew Bradley Beal was there, but
Yeah.
Wizards are a weird team, bro. They're just kind of there every year.
Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I just took my mic out. I had to put my phone on the charger. But yeah, I like the Wizards too. I think the Wizards will be a good team. I think that they'll overachieve a little bit as long as they're healthy. But yeah, I'm taking the over.
Yeah.
They just got to stay healthy. Washington Wizards. Jacob, you got the Clippers.
No, this is Jackson.
Yeah, Jackson got him.
yeah.
Oh, for real, you got the Clippers then. My bad.
Yeah. They'll be yeah, like Elijah said, they'll be good. Cause yeah, hold on, I'm trying to think how I want to say this. I think it'd take time for. I don't know. I was gonna say I think it'd take time for them to mesh, but they've been there for a while, so. I don't know. I ain't lying. I'm blanking like crazy right now.
All this football, man.
But yeah, they'll be good. Paul George and Kawhi. What's the over in the wins?
It's high. 52.5. It's high.
Yeah, I'm gonna go under on that.
Under?
I went under.
Under?
I'm taking under in the regular season. I think that they'll be a much better playoff team.
They're gonna
Yeah,
rest.
they've seen. They're a load management team. Ty Lue and them, like they don't care. That year, a couple years ago, the 72-year season, they literally lost games on purpose, so they didn't have to play somebody. The Lakers as the 2 seed in the first round. They fell all the way to 4 just to play the Mavericks. But yeah, I think the Clippers. I think they could be a top 3 seed in the West, man. They make the conference finals that same season without Kawhi Leonard. Like they had him for the first round, but the last 2 like they beat the who did they beat in the second round?
They beat Utah.
The Jazz. Like that whole Terrence Mann Game 6. They beat the Jazz. Like Paul George is literally carrying this team without Kawhi Leonard, and Ty Lue's putting on coaching masterpieces, and they had neither of those guys last year, and I think that's why they missed the playoffs, just because they had no Paul George and no Kawhi Leonard, and the fact that they were in the play-in shows a testament how good Ty Lue is as a coach, and if Kawhi's going to be healthy, Paul George is going to be healthy. They bring in Norman Powell. They bring in Rocco, both of them from the Blazers. John Wall. This team is going to be good. John Wall hadn't hooped in a year, but I want to beg on him of being at least decent enough for that team. Reggie Jackson was like amazing for them in that conference finals run. He's probably going to come off the bench to start. Who knows? That team is going to be good.
Yeah,
I think top 3 seed.
Yeah, I think fully healthy, they can very well come out with the West. I think if they can afford an injury in the regular season, not a big one, but like games here and there because their depth is so good.
I have one question with them, though, and I want y'all to give me your input on this. Their interior depth, does that scare y'all at all? Because they've got Zubac, but outside of that, they had Isaiah Hartenstein last year who kind of flew under the radar.
Big loss.
Good. And so coming off their bench now as their backup big, they might roll out Rocco to play some backup 5. And me being a Blazers fan, I saw that happen a few times and it didn't go well. So what do y'all think? Do y'all think that might be a detriment to them?
In the playoffs, we saw that Ty Lue wasn't scared to roll out a small ball lineup and have Marcus Morris play the 4, or even the 5, even without Kawhi Leonard on the floor. So it's obviously matchup based, depending on what they want to do. In the regular season, I don't think it'll matter much, but in the playoffs, I think it'll, just come down who's playing well that night, and he'll roll out a small ball lineup, because I think again it was Rudy Gobert that they were playing, and that always works against them. But I think a small ball lineup for them would work best.
Yeah, I think it just depends what team, like what center they play against.
Like if they play the Nuggets in the playoffs, I doubt they'll roll that out. I think anybody who plays the Nuggets in the playoffs is going to get roasted by Jokic, but especially the Clippers, they'll have trouble against them. But that is a big flaw that they do have, is interior depth. I think they could make they could make a move for that at the deadline. Maybe make a play at Miles Turner if the Lakers don't.
They have the pieces for it. They have the depth. And I don't know what the draft picks are, but they have the depth. They can give up some of that for a player.
They basically gave all those away for Paul George.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Thunder have every draft pick for Bermuda.
Jacob, you got the Suns.
So with the Suns, I think I had them as my 1 or 2 seed, I think. I don't know how confident I am with that now. Just chemistry-wise and seeing them how they, like I said, it's preseason, but I don't think the chemistry is there right now. But they should win a lot of games. Obviously, like last year, I think they had 66 wins.
As long as they don't play the 36ers.
Yeah, but they, I really just think it's the chemistry. I could very well see them fall to the 7 seed or, high play in, 7 or 6. It just, the West.
The Suns?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because Chris Paul's getting older. Ayton might not even want to play there. He got paid, but who knows if he really wants to be there. But I think they could be an injury away. Like if somebody gets injured, it could kind of go down. Not very bad, but they could fall, especially if other teams get hot. Because a lot of teams below them got better during the offseason. But I think they're more of a top 3 lock than falling down to like 5 or 6. But I think it's just chemistry, how they play this year is my biggest thing for them. And the depth a little bit. Yeah.
I think they're 3 or 4. I like both. I like all 3 of the Clippers, Warriors, and Nuggets better than the Suns than I do the Suns right now. I'm not saying the Suns are bad, but I just like those 3 teams more.
Yeah.
The Suns are a regular season team. They've showed us that. They did make a finals run a couple seasons ago. But yeah, if you play a good coach, you're probably like with the Suns, they're probably going to lose. So
Their depth just scares me too.
Yeah.
I don't trust in their bench like one bit.
yeah, and Chris Paul's getting old. He's on his last year or two. Ayton doesn't want to be there, and neither does Jay Crowder, who's been a big piece for them. They still have Mikal Bridges. They still got Booker. They still got their core guys. I like them as a team. I just don't know if they'll be the same juggernaut they've been the past 2 seasons.
Yeah, I think the West just has a lot of teams where you could say they could either be there at the top or kind of towards the middle. Just from how stacked it is.
Their over under is 52.5.
I'll go over. For right now, it'll probably change. But
I'm gonna take the slight over as well.
yeah, I was slightly over. I think I had him at 52 or 53. I don't think they'll get 60 again.
I'll go under. I think they're 45, 50, 51 in that range. They'll probably do what the Clippers and Bucks do and coast a little bit. Chris Paul's getting old and stuff,
Yeah.
so they'll probably load manage him a little bit if he allows them to. Yeah, I think they'll sit around 49, 50, 51 in that range. Clear the floor, boys. Clear the floor. I got the Grizz. I got the Grizz. All right, bro.